Hello. Hello. Hi. Hi. I'm
I sure am trying.
how's everyone? How are we? How are you? How are thee? How are theys? How are these? I am far too sober. Keep talking like that and I'll show you my feet.
Not for fucking free.
Obviously I have not been here. I have been
Screaming and crying and shitting and throwing up. That's been like our last 2 weeks.
I have been. Where do I start?
Yes, all at once, actually. Simultaneously.
No, see, living implies I'm doing something I enjoy, right? Living is like I went out, I took a stroll in the flowers, I had good food, I loved I was flowers. I enjoyed people, sorta.
Okay.
That would imply living. See, what I have done is
You know the opening scene in any of the Jackass movies? Like, in one of them, they're doing the running of the bulls through the neighborhood. In another one, they're in, like, a shopping cart careening downhill.
the most recent one was an entire like live action Michael Bay level production.
It's been a lot of that.
Yeah. Look, I have been surviving. Um, you know when you are like camping, right? You're camping. Here, hold on. You're camping, and you're like,
Gee,
oh,
this is intense.
we're gonna set up the tent. It's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We're gonna set up the tent. We're gonna get all of our firewood together. It's gonna be a good time, right? So then you like open the bag with the tent, and then you go to set the tent up, and you're driving the stakes into the ground, and you go to like put all the things up, and you're like, all right, this is going well. And then you realize that someone forgot to put like the little triangle thing at the top of the tent that connects everything together in the bag, but it's like the most integral part of the tent, and so you're like, oh, and you can't stand the tent up now, right? So then you're like, all right, well, we'll just figure something out. We'll get some branches together and we'll just tie this shit together. We're gonna MacGyver it, right? So then you're tying it together, and what you don't realize is the entire time you're tying it together, you've used poison ivy to tie it together because nobody has string either.
And the little triangle piece that you're supposed to have is now made of bees.
Live bees.
Yeah.
Live bees.
But our anniversary was good.
Yeah, it was a nice anniversary. It was good. It was good.
That was the light in the
It
darkness.
was good. It was a good time. Okay. Where do I? So obviously we've had some fuck shit. I got really, really sick for like a week and a half, I think.
Yeah, you stayed sick a lot longer than I did.
I was sick pretty hefty, and being sick, obviously like kind of takes me out because I have this nasty tendency when I get sinus infections. My sinus infections 99% of the time turns into laryngitis and like bronchial stuff sometimes. This turned into like borderline pneumonia. So I was kind of like trying to get through it while also still trying to get work done, while also still trying to like exist as something that was not a puddle, and try to pretend I was a person. While all of this was going on, I had some background stuff that I was trying to complete that was professional jobs, while also ensuring that the commissions I needed to do were getting done, and also that I was still getting photo sets and content out that was required for the exclusives, right, for you guys, for all of the website links under officialautomivy.com. And I was like, all right, cool. So I managed. I handled it. I did it. I did the thing. I fought the law. The law did not win. I was okay, sort of dying. It's fine. Meanwhile, let's start with the window. Let's start with the window. Let's start with the window. I need an insert. Chapter 1. The window. So I had a landscaper come out, right? Because we needed help trimming grandpa and grandma, who are like the really old trees that are in our forest that we live in. Because grandma and grandpa overhang over our fence line where the dogs go in the backyard, right? So they overhang over this fence line, and I'm like, all right. So I was talking to Ellis, and I'm like, we need to get all of this cleared up, because if something were to happen and a heavy rain comes, or by chance snow happens, it's gonna take out the fence. And I was like, so we'll get it taken care of, fine. I finally, after like going through 5 companies, finally found someone who could come to us. Wound up hiring this person on a weekly basis to come and do maintenance stuff, right? So during one of the times that this person showed up, and up to this point that they had been solid, right? No problem. They showed up finally one day and was mowing the back line where a bunch of the trees are with a riding lawnmower. To which, at some point, and this does happen, I'm going to be totally transparent. Shit happens. Like, it's not uncommon. It's just about how you handle it. But we're getting into that. That's chapter 2. winds up kicking a rock up with his riding lawnmower, snaps the, and this is a custom, like ceiling to floor window that I saved up money to buy to put into our bathroom we're redoing, right? So it's very, like, it's huge. It's custom, and I paid a hefty sum for it and saved up to try to get this window.
To give you a perspective, this window is 41 by 76 inches.
Yes. Right?
That's a big window.
So it's a very large window, and it overlooks the woods, right? From the bathtub. So he kicked up a rock with this riding lawnmower, and it winds up shattering this window. Okay? So, fine. We turn back, and I'm like, okay. Walk back, notice that it's just shattered. So we take him back to the back to let him know. Like, hey, this was fine 5 minutes ago.
Because Ellis heard a pop and didn't think anything of it. And then a few minutes passed, and I went to go take a piss. And I heard what sounds like when you're in the movies and somebody steps on a frozen lake, that sound. I'm like, what the fuck is that? And I look into the bathroom, and it's my window spidering. More.
And more.
And more.
I have a video of it actively cracking. So we take him back there, and I'm like, hey, bro, you good? And he's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize, blah, blah, whatever. And we're like, it's no big deal. Like, you know,
Shit
it's,
happens.
yeah, like, it happens. I was like, we just need it taken care of. And he's like, well, you know, this is the second time this year. And you know, I have insurance and stuff, but, like, we'll have to take care of it and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, okay, cool. You know, no big deal. And he's like, well, I'd rather not go through insurance, though. And I'm like, okay, fine. Like, as long as you pay for the window, I don't care. Because, like, this window's, like, $1,800, bro. And you don't have to pay the full $1,800 because, obviously, we've had the window for almost a year. I was like, but I would still like if you paid
You still broke our
sufficient
fucking
sum because you
window.
broke our fucking window, right? And I was very nice. And Ellis can tell you, I can be a righteous bitch.
I usually, when Autumn gets frustrated, because she's very direct on a good day.
Which, by the way, to be clear about my directness,
that'd be the
I'm
autism.
not being a dick. I legitimately just am. This is the fact of the matter, right?
She's a very direct person. She's autistic. That's not even me being funny, it's the truth. So on a good day, I have to step into conversations. I'm like, hey, this is what she means. Let me translate for you. Right? That day,
I was
everything
reasonable.
fine. It was totally normal conversation.
Like-
Like, hey, we get it.
Yeah.
Shit happens. We'll get it figured out. You know, if you have time. Like,
Come back next Saturday like you have been, so that you can, you know, keep doing maintenance stuff for the stuff that we need. No big deal. We're cool. And then from there, you know, we'll even if you can pay a little bit, whatever. Like, we'll figure it out, right?
Sort of.
I was cool with it, and even texted this. And I was like, let me find the invoices for the cost of the window, though, so that you have confirmation and proof of all of this stuff. So I send all that in, and he's like, okay, like, I'll verify with a friend on the glass and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, all right, cool. Saturday rolls around when he's supposed to be back. Ellis is gone. And I'm like, all right.
Yeah, this was when I went to Baltimore.
Yeah, so Ellis was gone. And I'm like, okay, so he doesn't show up Saturday. And I'm like, maybe something happened. Like, I hope he's okay. So I waited, texted him Sunday. And Ellis's mic is upstairs. He'll just have to talk really loud.
I'll yell. Saturday came and he didn't show up.
So I text him Sunday. And I'm like, okay, hey man, are you good? Like, I didn't see you yesterday. You were supposed to come to, you know, to do the stuff, like to finish some of the stuff that was maintenance. And he was like, nothing. Oh my God, is this man dead? What happened?
Because up to now, you're finally, don't worry about it.
He had been
We're just fucking
responding.
with you. Yeah, he had been responding and perfectly communicative, of course, up until the window breaking.
So then I wait, because I'm like, I'm a little worried, right? Because I assumed something had happened. And so I just wanted to make sure the dude was good, right? Legitimately. Fine. Wednesday comes. I waited until Wednesday, right? Gave plenty of time. Texted again and was like, hey, I still haven't heard from you. You didn't show up Sunday, like, or Saturday. Are you okay? Like, what's going on? Finally get a response. To which he tells me that he had this other job that came up and he was really busy and he didn't have time, right? Mind you, we had been on a schedule. Let me be very fucking clear when I set something up on a schedule, okay? There is a reason. There is a reason that I set things up on a schedule. It is because I am the kind of person that benefits from ensuring that someone else's schedule is handled so that my schedule is handled. So when someone decides that they are going to break the schedule that we set up, it creates a disturbance. I don't like disturbances in my day and my schedule because it creates problems. You know what I mean? Now, I don't know about any of you, but I don't like problems. Who does, right? Who likes problems? This man proceeds to tell me that he was busy with something else. I responded rationally, politely, and told him, oh, well, I get it. Things come up. Perhaps you forgot. No problem. So I'll see you Saturday. To which he responds to me, well, yeah. Great, we're back on schedule. Except we weren't. Because Saturday rolls around, and this man, once again, does not show up.
Oh, it gets better.
I'm not done. I'm now pissed.
Now we're at chapter 2.
So I texted him again, and I'm like, it's afternoon of Saturday. He usually had been showing up at like, what, 9, 10?
Ish.
Give or take,
About
right?
9.
So this man comes up, and he's like, doesn't show. Cool. I text at like 4, and I'm like, I'm safely assuming you're not coming today then. No problem, huh? Don't get a response. Ignores my text. It says read. Oh yeah, there's read receipts, by the way, on all of this. Says read. Cool. I don't text again. I wait until Wednesday again. Text him Wednesday. So, what happened this time? Oh, well, I'm not done with this job yet, and it's just taking longer than I expected. You know, I'm sorry. Okay, well, you didn't show up again. And you still owe for my window, so I just want to figure out what's going on exactly with this, okay? Well, that doesn't fucking happen. He's like, well, I'll let you know. I'll let you know when I can come back. I should be done with this job by Friday, whatever, right?
I'm interjecting, Tormuse. This wasn't a last-minute cancellation. This is the equivalent for those of you who have ever held a job of a no-call, no-show.
Yes, twice.
Because he told us he would be here at this time. We rearranged our schedule and our day, dealt with the dogs, moved her recordings because the dogs will scream if he's here, did everything we needed to accommodate for this person to show up, only for him to fuck off and not communicate and leave us high and dry, on top of the red receipts. So we've been past fired by now.
I'm gonna read you.
While you read, I will be right back.
I'm just dead ass gonna read the texts.
Do it. Fuck 'em.
Okay? Alright, Wednesday, okay? This is the next follow-up. Sorry, I'm trying to rush this sod job I have going on, so I have the money for the window. I'm doing final grade today. My sod is to be delivered Friday morning. Once it's done, I'll be able to pay for the window. It's a big job, taking longer than anticipated. It's understandable. I just need feedback on schedule when that happens, so I know what to expect. I was expecting you yesterday or today based on the last message, so I wanted to make sure everything was okay. The window isn't a huge deal. I know you'll pay that when you can. I just still need work done, is all. Okay, I apologize. I understand what you're saying. Just let me know when you can come back. Thank you. The following Wednesday, I had to text him again because he did not text me, respond, nothing, right? I gave him time. The following fucking Wednesday. Good morning. I understand you've had another sod job, etc., and have been busy, but we also agreed on scheduled days, and I'm a bit confused now because it wasn't an issue until the window occurrence. I was amicable about that and wasn't really concerned about it being paid for immediately, as it still needs covered, because it has to be fixed regardless, and was still needing and wanting work done. At this point, though, I need to know if you're legitimately going to continue the work or not, window aside, because I have things that need finished now that we have more hatchlings, so on, etc., so we can get the fencing up. If you're not coming back because you're too busy, then that's fine, but I would sincerely appreciate the communication so that I can hire someone who can be communicative, consistent, and finish the job. Thank you. The response. I apologize for the deviation from our agreed-on schedule and for not getting the stuff you need done in a timely fashion. My schedule's been hectic, to say the least, and while an agreed-upon schedule when agreed to, I was kind of counting on being a few hours one day a week, which kind of turned into more. I would have been good with. I had a pretty big local job to me come up at the same time, but rest assured, I will be finishing it up in the next day, and when it's done, I will have multiple days to apply to your needs. I'm sorry for the lack of my communication. It is not really my strong point. But wait! There's more! My reply. That's fine, but I would have appreciated being told these things instead of expecting something and then you just not showing up, which is what happened and prompted this in the first place, especially after the window issue. It made it seem like avoidance. Do you understand? I do really, really poorly with not being in a position of understanding, and all I ask is 2 seconds of a text message to tell me, hey, I'm so sorry, I have a huge job that came up, and it's going to be a week or two before I can come back out. I'll text you then and let you know when I'll be back. Then I actually have you follow up on it, so I have an idea, and that's totally fine. I have my own schedule and my own work to consider during these times, which includes not having barking dogs or whirring motors from a mower, etc. that I have to work around. I am insensitive sometimes, but I am not so much a bitch. I can absolutely understand that jobs come up. I just ask to be told the timeline and to be kept up to date if something changes. That's simply all. That said, text me a reasonably definitive date, please, when you have one within the next day or two. The following Wednesday, he does not respond to me at all. I have to send another message the following Wednesday. Hello. It seems that we're at an impasse for scheduling, and that's okay. Things get busy, of course. At this time, I just need fair compensation for the window that was broken so we can move forward. Thank you for your prompt response. I'm gonna let you guys guess. Was there a reply? No! If you said no, you get 5 points. I text him again on Friday. Good morning. I need a response at least, please. I was polite and willing to let things line up according to work schedule, but at this point it feels like I'm being ignored and avoided, and I really don't want to escalate this issue if I don't have to. Do you hear that in the distance? That is the sound of no response! Again. Okay, cool. So, the following Wednesday. This will be the 23rd of October, right? I want to mind you guys that all this shit started in September. Wednesday. Good afternoon. Checking in with you on the status of the reimbursement for my damaged window, please. A reply of some kind would sincerely be appreciated. Finally, get a response. Sorry I haven't responded. I will be able to forward 900 at the end of the week. Have you found someone else to complete some of the stuff you wanted done? My reply. I just want appropriate compensation for my window at this time. I'll check back at the end of the week accordingly. Thanks. I don't check back. I waited. No response. No reply. No text. No shit. This Wednesday. This past Wednesday. Hi, it's Wednesday. If you could have that money to me this week, it would be appreciated. Thank you. No response. No reply. Left unread. Yesterday. Hey, Saturday, and a week after you stated you would pay me. Please send me the owed amount today via Cash App, Apple Pay, whatever is fine. I resent the invoice because we had to pay out of pocket to fix my window. I couldn't just leave it, right? So then I had to pull money I was not expecting out of my savings, which is for other important shit, to pay for this window. Also, just so we're clear, I want the appropriate due amount, which is still more than the 900 you were supposed to have sent last week. They had to replace both panes for the seal because the first window shattered. Here's the invoice. No response, left unread. Today. This morning. Because I was pissed. Cool. Awesome. So, from your lack of response, again, I'm assuming that I need to proceed with small claims court and a submission to the Better Business Bureau then. I didn't want to do this with you, and I gave you ample opportunity to rectify the situation, including continuing work and paying on it as we go. Instead, you opted to actively avoid me and eventually ignore me up to this point. So, since you want to proceed in an unprofessional manner and still not respond or even attempt to pay me what's due, I guess I'll have to proceed with small claims and reporting you. So, take care, I guess. Finally get a response. I'm just having a rough time coming up with the money, but I guess I don't blame you. Take whatever actions you need to, I guess. I can't really say anything, and I don't have the money right now, so do whatever you need to. I asked you to pay literally anything, and you have lied to me multiple times over. So in that case, give me your insurance information then, please. No response. So, I left reviews on Google, and I don't do this. I want to be very fucking clear. I am not one of those people who go out of my way, right, to shit on small businesses. I go out of my way to try to support small businesses and, like, local businesses and like, try to be that person to, like, support people and be like, oh, fuck, man, like, I know what that's like, coming out of nothing, right? Like, I get that. But when you motherfucking burn me, I gave you ample opportunity to rectify the situation. All you had to do was come back to me like a motherfucking professional and be like, hey, I am so sorry. I'm really struggling trying to get things handled right now with getting you the money. Could I try to trade you some work? Are there things that I could do for you? Like, can we work this out? But instead, you ignored me and chose the path of most resistance? Thinking what, exactly? Did you think that I was just young, stupid, covered in tattoos, and not gonna fucking hound you? Did you think that I wasn't willing to? Because now, your response tells me that you don't think I'm motherfucking serious. Which is another fucking issue that I take real serious. You know what I'm saying? I take that shit real serious. And I will show the fuck up like Beetlejuice at small claims court simply to waste your time, 2K20 motherfucking 4, because I gave you so many chances to act appropriately. And I thought I was pretty motherfucking reasonable. And you know what? I'll leave you guys up to the judgment. Out of all the shit that I read, did you think, up to today, that I was in any way, shape, or form an asshole, unprofessional, like, not forthcoming with information, less than reasonable? Like, we'll turn this into an am I the asshole? I'll turn it into am I the asshole? Am I the asshole? I'd have been more unreasonable. That's fair. Thank you. Like, and dead ass. Like, if I was actually an asshole, and that's the thing about it, right? So, the thing I expect from this community and expect from Legion is that we hold ourselves responsible for our actions, positive and negative, right? If I legitimately had been a dick, I would have the expectation that you guys would say, nah, man, you were kind of an asshole, right? Because that's on honesty. If I was a dick, I would simply say, like, yeah, no, tell me I'm the asshole, right? Because I can't get better and do things better and be better if there isn't this communication open where that can happen. I am pissed. So now, I got 15 other motherfucking things going on, and I have no desire to submit court paperwork to go to small claims court against this dude and then turn around and have to deal with the Better Business Bureau. I don't want to, right? But now I don't have a choice. So now I'm sitting here after that response, and I don't think he thinks I'm serious, which makes me even more motherfucking pissed.
So, chapter 3. Which sort of happened in between chapter 1 and chapter 2. Maybe it's like chapter 1.5. My chapter, Twin City Glass. Okay.
Oh yeah, this is like part 1.5.
Replacing the window was my job to handle and sort out for the most part because she's already dealing with numbnuts.
Yeah.
And I don't want her to stress about it more. So I call the local glass people who were like, all right,
cool.
We'll get you sorted. We'll get a fucking window replaced. So they send somebody out here.
Mm-hmm.
They measure everything from the inside, from the outside. And while I am there with them, I'm like, okay, 2 things. 1, are you guys going to have to mess with anything on the inside or remove it because we're trying to remodel that bathroom? And if you have to do that, the gentleman who is remodeling the bathroom might have a fucking brain aneurysm. And he's like, no. Great. Okay.
Which we love our guy who's doing our remodeling.
He's basically our adopted dad.
Yeah, he's like our weird adopted dad. We love him, but like we knew that he would have a shit
would fucking
fit.
McLose it. So the guy's like, no. I'm like, cool. My second and important question. You are measuring this right now. Is there anything else you need? Is this going to be, like, is it good? Are we square? He's like, no, I'm getting the measurements. What's going to happen is we're going to order the glass. When it comes out, assuming that nothing is wrong with the glass, because sometimes when that happens, if there's, like, scratches or something wrong, they send it back. Because as a business, they need to give us the glass that is flawless, which, okay. So they order the glass, and the first set of glass that comes to the shop, I guess, had something wrong with it. I didn't find this out until later. Fine, I don't really care. So it took them, like, 2 weeks-ish, maybe a little less, to finally get the glass. And they're like, all right, we're going to come install it. Like, dope. So they come out 8 a.m. that morning, and the guy's, like, looking at the window. They clean up, like, some of the old glass and stuff that's still kind of, like, in the frame and stuff outside, and get everything sorted. And then they tell me that the glass is the wrong size. And I'm like,
out here, ready to go.
Explain it to me how it's the wrong size when you not only got the receipt for the initial glass from me, I gave you the measurements from our home renovator guy, and you sent a motherfucker out here to measure. Well, and I couldn't take it out on the guy that told me this because they're literally just the dude that installs it. It's not his fucking fault. So I call and talk to the manager, who is about as useful as wet tissue paper and twice as smart. And he's like, well, sometimes it just happens. I'm like, cool, so how fucking long is it going to take to get my window? Because since there's only one pane of window, I don't know if you know this, but it's fucking cold back there because now it's not insulated.
Yep.
Well, we have to reorder it, and just like last time, if anything's not perfect, we'll have to reorder it again. I'm like, get me my fucking window. So another week and a half passes, and they're like, okay, we have the window ready. Like, are you sure? Are you positive?
Mind you, and I'm going to interject for 2 seconds. Mind you, okay? And I want to be very clear about this. A lot of this stuff sounds relatively trivial. Frustrating, but relatively trivial. This is difficult because I work from home, right? And I understand that there is this weird stigma, and I'm going to get into that in a second, but there's this concept that because I work from home and I do, like, I stream, or I do, like, exclusive stuff, or I do photo shoots or whatever, that there isn't a requirement for, like, my needs in my space. The problem is that I also professionally record from this office, which means that I can't have people coming in and out of my house. I can't have a bunch of noise. I can't have the dogs freaking out because so-and-so showed up unannounced. Like, I have to have a proper working environment, right? So there's a reason, because I have jobs that show up. I had 3 jobs back to back during all of this happening where the email was like, hey, this is due tomorrow. And I was like,
Fuck me, I guess.
I mean, like, and I can do that. I'm happy to do that. It's my job. It frustrates me, but I can do it. It fucks me, though, if I have this shit happen and then my professional job is then affected because of other people's fuck shit. Continue.
So, they set up the scheduling, and finally, they come out, and they get the windows replaced. They get almost all of the glass cleaned up. There's a few small shards out there under the window. It's not a big deal, because it was like, oh, here's a glass shatter. It's like, no, all the pieces are like this big. Like, it evaporated, kind of shattered.
Yeah.
So the window is fixed, and it's finally done. But on top of shithead not communicating, not paying anything, completely evading the issue, we had to pay basically another like $2,000 out of pocket when we had saved up for this motherfucker the first time. Because this isn't a house we're renting. This is our house.
Yeah, this is our
This
home.
is our forever home. Like, because buying a house is bad enough. So we had to pay for it again and then fight with the fucking glass people on top of it, because for some reason, my measurements, the receipts, the word from our fucking guy that put it in, and the dude that came out and measured it still wasn't enough. So, like,
bruh,
you know, first world white people problems. But at the same time, like, damn, bitch. And that's just the first 3 chapters. That's literally just the window saga.
Yeah.
Just the window.
That's the window saga. Mind you, I
feel like this is the parallel to the Bob's Fridge episode.
A little bit. So mind you, the all of this is still going on, and I touched on this a little bit before, because the FBI shit with that shit is still happening. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you missed it. You missed the episode. It's a shit show. The FBI is involved legitimately. There is a formal report about this person.
Stalker and harasser, long story short. Very, very dangerous threats towards Autumn and in public places.
And public places. That's the TLDR. That's all you need to know.
That's been going on.
There is a reason I didn't talk about it. I didn't make it public. I don't make a big deal out of shit in my life, even when it is a big deal. Because for me, that's not it, right? No, we deal. We're good. Fine.
The window was more frustrating than the FBI thing, if I'm being straight with you.
Yeah, no, the FBI. Well, no. So the detectives and the FBI agents have been chill as fuck.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, they have been very polite. They've been very very Portland of you. So that shit is still going on in the background, right? Stressful as that is, whatever.
Then we have, which we also, I can't remember, we've touched on it in streams in the past. I don't know if we touched on it this time. But then we have the motherfuckers driving by the house.
Who showed up so we have a girl who comes and helps out with organization and stuff once a week for my sanity. And they showed up while she was here doing some organizing for us, and we had gone to get hay and run some errands, and she calls us panicked because they stopped and were taking pictures of our house again. So that's also happening, and while all of this is occurring. Fuck me, I guess.
Hey, but the Witches concert was
lit
dope.
as fuck.
Yeah, what was that, the day before yesterday? That was fucking dope.
Yeah, that was, listen, okay, so, hold on, because there's good, I promise I'm getting to the good, there is good. Shit's weird, because it gets weirder. There's some shit I can't touch on just yet, but I'm gonna get there, yeah. Once it's done, I'm gonna get there. All I will tell you at the now is, like, okay, so, well, let me, I got this. Okay. So, you know when you show up for Thanksgiving dinner, right? And then there's that really weird, eccentric family member who's, like, super, like, negative and supports all the wrong things and is, like, that person that will literally, like, out you in a dangerous manner to the worst group of people. But they're so nice and they're so kind that when you bring your friend to Thanksgiving dinner, they meet your family and stuff, and they meet this person, and everybody knows about this person in the background, but your friend doesn't. So then your friend is, like, chatting it up with this person, and they have a really great time, and then you're like, okay, cool, and then the friend comes back later, and you guys, yeah, and they were like, okay, cool, like, no big deal, but then they, like, find out that Aunt Susan is actually, like, Voldemort, okay? They find out that it's Voldemort, but they weren't aware of it, and so then you have to explain to your friend that this person is actually Voldemort. And then they feel really stupid because the only reason they came to dinner in the first place to, like, chill and have this, like, fun back and forth and shit was because somebody they trusted invited them to dinner. Right? But the problem with this person is that now they know who you are. Right? So now Aunt Susan knows everything about your friend. and your friend could have done without this whole mess.
This cannot be put back in the box.
Yeah, so that's just it's Schrodinger's cat, except the box has been open, and Schrodinger's cat is actually a pissed off badger with rabies. Okay, so I'll explain. I promise you.
Just not yet.
Just not yet. Just not yet.
There's your metaphor to give you the gist of that. That's like chapter 6. We jumped around a little.
I want a nap.
The Quail are doing great.
Yeah, they're so cute. Do you have pictures? Do you have like a recent one?
Not other than
Oh,
the one you posted.
I posted a picture. So Jason,
Is
may
it-
I ask how many chapters in total? Too many.
I don't know, man.
Too many.
I lost count.
Too many. Can I type in bird in my search bar? I bet I can.
Probably.
Bird. That's a lot of birds. Why do I have so many pictures of birds?
Because I keep lots of birds.
Oh, a lot of them are like, oh, Christmas.
Hi, buddy.
Hi, buddy.
Here, I've got the picture if you don't.
Ellis is gonna pull it up. But so I guess Jason, so we have Batman, who is like he's not almost entirely
Look,
like
those
black
are not
anymore.
bird pictures.
But Jason, there's Batman, who was really nosy and one of the first ones born. And then Jason is the only red Quail that came out. He is an asshole. I love him, but he's a dick. And so Ellis comes and brings Jason in our carrier to come and visit me and tells me, you need to talk to your son. And I'm like, why? And he's like, I guess Ellis had gone to feed him, or had gone to feed all of them.
I didn't feed them fast enough, and he decided that the answer was to start like kicking and pecking at my hand until
To
I
feed
gave
him.
him food, like a little dick.
So oh no, Ellis made the crowbar joke.
Look at how pissy this bird is.
That's Jason.
Like, here, look, hold on.
So the Quail are great.
Look at it. That's a fucking quail with angry eyebrows. Dick ass bird.
So that's Jason. And if you don't understand the reference, if you don't, it's Jason Todd. So like Red Hood. Yeah. So Jason and Batman are like together. And then Betty is the best.
And Uno just likes to hang out.
Uno was the very first one born. And Uno knows. Like, you know Uno because Uno, like, yeah.
Uno likes to roll around in the food.
Yeah. So let me button up the conversation here. Because a lot of stuff all at once. I'm McFucking losing it, if that wasn't obvious, while also trying to still like maintain schedule. I have 2 audiobooks that need to be completed that I'm in the middle of recording on top of that for professional purposes. Like, I'm under contract, like these are pro jobs. And then I've got some other things that are ramping up that I need to pay attention to. I haven't been able to put on auditions because all of this shit has occurred. And then I've got 3 massive costume builds that I can't do because of I don't have time.
And the reality of the situation is as well is we had a fantastic anniversary.
Yes.
But taking 2 days away from our anniversary did nothing but set us
Backwards. Again.
So also combating that, yes, we did get tattoos.
Yeah.
That was good. That was a positive.
That was a nice stress relief.
Yeah.
Which mine's not done, and neither's Ellis's. Ellis still has to get his shaded. I'm excited, though, because it's beautiful.
Mine's going to take at least 2 more sessions.
Yeah, and then Geometry Daddy is done, but we still have to add, like, because my whole leg is supposed to be done. The bottom half of my leg is supposed to be done. So good announcements, since we're here. I will say thank you. I appreciate that.
7 years.
Yeah, it's been 7 years this year. So, good news. Good stuff. Good things. Hold on, sorry, my brain.
There are good things. They disappeared. Hang on.
Ellis, talk about something. I'm rebooting.
I wasn't prepared.
No. No.
But to answer you just a moment ago, married for 7 years, together for 9, known each other for like 18.
It's not that. No.
I believe in you.
I can't talk about... No.
No new puppy.
No. Somebody took the feed store cat.
Oh, that was today.
That was the other thing. That's chapter 7.
That's not even just chapter 7. That's like the 13th reason.
John Wick. There's 2, okay, hold on. So there's 2 cats, okay? There's these little boys, so they're cute. And somebody dropped them off at the feed store last year that we go to pick up hay for the horses when the fields aren't grown in. Because, like, sometimes we have a lack of rain and the fields don't come in enough to feed all 4 of the horses, right? Okay, so, fine. So somebody abandoned these 2 kittens at the feed store, and the feed store was like, fuck it, we'll keep them. Barn cats are great because they keep the mice down, and the mice will eat the feed if they're not careful, right? So cool. So it's this little Siamese cat and this little gray cat, and I love them.
They're brothers.
And they're brothers. So we have gone to this feed store, right? And we've watched them grow up.
For a year now.
Yes, and like I just saw him like a week ago. Like a week ago. And so we came up to the feed store today because we had to grab some hay. And the little gray boy was like on, because they sleep under the heater on the counter where you pay because it's comfy, and they have like an overhead heater thing that keeps everybody warm. Because it's a warehouse. I mean, it's a feed store, right? So gray boy was like hanging out, and I'm like, all right, bet. So I start petting him and loving on him and telling him that he is the best. And the feed store girls who know us, because again, I mean, like we, oh, obvious. She turns to us and she's like, yeah, we haven't seen, I don't remember what two of the girls call them two different things. I don't know, but they hadn't seen the Siamese cat. And I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, well, usually he's waiting by the door when we come in the morning and we let him in. And you know, that's the thing. And I'm like, okay, well, and then I kind of paused and she goes, I don't know. I'm a little worried though, because we get so many people who come in here who like joke about like taking them that I don't really know. And I had to censor myself. And I was like, well, I'm going to be positive about it and hope that maybe he just got stuck outside and he'll be back this afternoon, or at the very least, that whatever happened, he's safe and sound and warm and loved, and he'll be back.
Meanwhile, the inside thought is, when I catch you, Ricky.
When I fucking catch you, Ricky.
If somebody stole our fucking feed store cats.
If you stole my feed store cat.
John Wick, immediate. I will find you.
Or if something happened to our feed store cat. That's not even our cat. I want to point that out. That is not our cat.
That's our cat by proxy.
But that's our cat by proxy.
So that was today.
I will find you, and I will find everyone you've ever loved. I will take back our feed store cat, and then I'll let you live in the basement. Okay. I don't ask for much. Don't fuck with cats. That's it. Don't fuck with my cats. I'm a very simple creature. That was not what I meant to talk about, though.
Is your cat orange? Because that sounds like
orange cat behavior. Doc of Chucky came out. For those of you that have watched Doc of Chucky, I cannot thank you enough. I don't think that you recognize how important it is. As a voice actor and as a narrator or somebody who does this type of business, because the problem that I run into a lot of the time is that people don't realize the full spectrum of things that I do. And unfortunately, that comes with being the person who does a little bit of everything all of the time. Because so when you ask somebody, what's your brand? Like, I'm my brand.
Me.
I can't brand myself as one thing when I'm asked, so what do you do? Right? It's really, really difficult because there's so much that I do. So Doc of Chucky, though, was important because not only was it an opportunity for me to, in some way, shape, or form, have a place, I guess, in such a crazy, amazing, long-standing series, but to also be able to say, like, yeah, I did that. So being able to narrate for, this massive documentary about Chucky was so fucking cool. And I cannot be more grateful or more thankful to have been given the opportunity. I was given the audition by someone I had done other jobs for without knowing what it was for. And basically they were like, yeah, we know that this is kind of your thing, so we want you to try to read for it. We'll see how it goes. And I was like, okay, bet. So I did the reading. I did the audition. And then I get notified I got the job, to which they then tell me what the job is. And it was Doc of Chucky. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm not signed to an agency. Don't ask me why. I don't know. But I was very shocked and very, honored, I guess. And the problem is that narrators across the board for really any project, with the exception, obviously, of games, narrators really aren't graced with much respect or presence unless you're, David Attenborough or fucking, Morgan Freeman or something, or the movie guy, the movie trailer guy. They just don't... There's just not a lot of respect on narrators for that kind of thing. James Earl Jones. Yeah. But...
Tony Todd, even.
Yeah, and Tony Todd, too. But for me, it's kind of huge because it was great. I mean, it was an amazing opportunity, and I'm extremely grateful. And so, having people watch it and share and talk about it, is really helpful to me because it shows the people behind everything, that it is important. And there are those of us that do this job under VO and things like that, where like we deserve a little bit of that credit too, you know what I mean? Like as a guide. And no, like I'm not involved in, you know, like I wasn't in the movies. I didn't do, you know, that kind of thing. Like I wasn't part of production on that end. But just having a role to play in any capacity and like being able to feel like part of this community was kind of a big thing. And unfortunately, a lot of large companies feel the need, I guess, to like downsize content creators because we're content creators. It was very strange because I'm grateful, but one of the articles that mentioned me, which again, I'm just happy to have been mentioned at all because that's not gonna usually happen ever. But one of the articles that mentioned me specifically was like social media influencer Autumn Ivy, and I was like, what do I influence? Am I an influencer? Is that what I do? Like, and then I went through this weird like existential spin where I was trying to figure out like what, and then I had to think about it, and I was like, what am I selling?
What are they selling?
Like, what am I selling? Am I selling something? What am I, like, what am I influencing? And Ellis and I got into a conversation about it because Ellis was like, well, you know, I mean, influencers are, you know, like you influence things. And I was like,
it's an umbrella term.
It is. It's an umbrella
term.
Because
there's all different kinds of influencers. Just like, you know, like you just said, she can influence people with motivation or like influence, you know, cosplay or even cosplay trends. There are other people that can influence you on
clothes
or what game to play. So influencer is an umbrella term, and that's why it's kind of a problem and shit on.
Yeah.
Is because typically when people think of influencer, they just think of like, oh, that's just a person with a big fan base, and a lot of times they also get slapped with the stigma and assumption of entitlement.
Yeah.
Because that's what the media has turned them into. But realistically, being an influencer is just, you have a platform, cool. Like, yeah, exactly. So the Paul brothers, right? Can't fucking stand them, but they're influencers.
You know, but that's the thing of it though, right? Is like, out of everything that you could have chosen, that's what we went with. Which for me, and
I don't think it was malicious.
No, not at all. Again,
still...
I'm grateful just to have been mentioned. Seriously.
Right. It's just something to think about.
It's one of those things though where it's like you put me in this box that I didn't really feel like I fit in the first place. And like, yeah, and that's what I said. I was like, content creator? But as you could have just said narrator, voice actor. Like, all of these things apply, and I have the credits to support that. This bitch. So it was just very, like, it was very strange. But the reason I'm bringing this up is, one, super grateful. If you have not watched Doc of Chucky, it is an odyssey. But it goes super in-depth into everything that is Chucky through all of the films up to the television series. Which is nuts. Like, it is nuts. So if you guys do, the likes, the shares, like, obviously is very appreciated. Having a role to play in that at all was super important to me because it's something that I could say that I got to do. And especially because, I mean, fuck it, I'm already talking about this. All right, so here's the deal, right? A lot of you are aware that, like, I do the photo sets, I do videos, I do audios. Like, I work in all realms, right? And I think that there is this thought process that because I do those things, the wink wink things, that I can't transcend and keep moving through and to do all of these other things. And I get labeled with a sticker immediately because I do much better with the adult crowd, right? In terms of that stuff. It's difficult, though, because that's my sticker. And even though I do 15,000 other things, it's like the assumption is that for some reason, because I do that, I am not good at other things, even though I've been doing other things just as long. So being able to beat that and beat the idea that you can't do both, right, is big. I am an executive producer on 2 films now that I have supported that were very important to me as a cause and important for me related to Ellis. Pace is a film that I backed for Beck and Bex, who are the stars of it, and I believe Beck also wrote it or was like co in it. But anyway, so that's making rounds on film festival circuits right now, which is huge. And it was a selection for an independent film festival happening in LA in December. There's another film, which I'll get to that and announce it as we go, but once I get the okay. But the other film is also really important. And both of them are LGBTQ supportive. Like I'm excited for these things to come out. So having all of this other stuff and then also doing these things on the side, like one hand supports the other. I like to create. I like to do. And I like to make things that make people happy, no matter what that is. You know, and in supporting these things, I can create and I can do and I can have the funds to create and do other things. And I expressly point this out because having the ability to work in both realms and essentially, I guess, you know, go back and forth between the veil, benefits me for a lot of reasons. And having EP credits is huge. I have acting credits. I have voice acting credits. Like, you know what I mean? I've got a lot of things that I do, and being able to support my family, support the animals, support the rescues, like, you know, try to work towards betterment while also balancing out these other things that I do is important, right? I have things I got to take care of just like everybody else does. It also means I don't stop. I can't stop. And I expressly point that out because there was something that got said recently about a series that was released. And it was important for me to hear because it was true. And it was about how large companies, large production, Hollywood AAA shit, right? They frown on people in an independent level, like YouTubers or TikTok creators. And we're immediately discounted because that's what we do. There's this concept that we can't somehow be talented and tied to this thing and not be capable of other amazing, great things. And yes, I mean, so yes, Trixie. So I am talking about The Edge of Sleep. And obviously, I have a huge bias. Like, obviously.
But nothing that was said was wrong.
But nothing that was said was wrong. And going into that, that's why being able to support each other, support independent projects, that's why I like to stream independent games. I don't make money streaming independent games, guys. I don't putting my Let's Plays and like my streams and stuff on YouTube, I make maybe pennies. I don't make big bucks. I'm not a huge YouTuber. I'm not a huge whatever the fuck, right?
Streaming is for fun.
Streaming is something that I do to support other independent creators and other things like that, or to talk about things or so on that I'm passionate about and I care about. I don't make money on that shit. It's all relevant though, because support and kind of like artists passing around the same $20 is really the concept of it. And it's like doing things because you care, doing things because you're passionate, and like pushing on to the next level no matter what is in your way is huge. And I say that because, for example, and I've touched on this, Accounts from a Lonely Broadcast Station, which is where a lot, you know, several of you know me from. You know me as Evelyn, right? And that was thanks to Mr. Creepypasta, Spike, who's a very, very close friend of mine. Spike trusted me to take this story after a handful of guest narrations on his channel, right? At the time, and I should clarify, like, Spike was not a small YouTuber, still isn't a small YouTuber. Like, that's his, you know, that's what he does. And he trusted me to do a handful of guest spots, only to hand me a story and go, you can do it. And I was like, oh, and then I did. Was it a little rough and bumpy? Yeah, a little.
Like 7 fucking years ago.
It was a little rough and bumpy, but I was, you know, I hadn't invested in my setup yet because I was just getting started with some of those things. You know, I didn't have a lot of money to like put towards that stuff. I was still working my full-time career at the time, miserable as fuck doing it. And I think that's the thing is like I was trusted to do this, and it turns out that Accounts from a Lonely Broadcast Station became not only a project where I met some really amazing people like Windingus, Kel Spyron, the author, Spike, obviously I had known, but like collectively the environment and the fan base and the community that came out of Accounts from a Lonely Broadcast Station became very fucking important to me. And I don't touch on it very often, but to this day, and I still get this, every so often I get a message, a private DM, or I get an email from someone who tells me that Accounts is like their comfort, their safety. And I've had more than a few people send me messages telling me that Accounts was one of those stories that legitimately helped save them, in a sense. You know, whatever way that was for them. And I have them still. I keep those things because they matter to me. And I remember Wynn going through a really, really rough time. And, you know, she hadn't finished the 3rd chapter. And it was just not good. Everything was bad. A lot of things happened. It's not my place to discuss it. She can talk about it. But what I can say is that it was rough. And I sent her an email that I got from someone who was just so sweet and so passionate and basically laid everything out about how they had gone through this really rough time and how, frankly, they almost checked out. Like, they almost punched their own time card. They were done. They didn't want to fuck with it anymore. And the story about these characters, that despite all of this weird fuck shit going on in the woods, was so human and so important about getting through it and like managing as a person and trying, like, you were your own monster and working through things, that it made them take a step back and like really try again, right? And I sent it to Win, and I was like, I know, blah blah blah, like a private message, I know these things, but I want to send this to you because I think it's important for you to read as much as it was important for this person to write. And I sent it to her. And then some things passed, and a couple months later, I got a message from her. I hadn't heard from her. I got a message from her saying that she was starting to write 3, the 3rd chapter. And I told Win, when she sent that message, that I would do anything in my power that she needed me to do to see it through to the end. Anything in my power. And I did. And we, you know, it was a lot, but she finished it. She kept her promise. She finished it. And then we recorded it. And then from there, she started writing the novel. And now we have, you know, Accounts from a Lonely Broadcast Station as a novel that she published. She self-published. She busted her ass. She wrote the fucking thing. She added extra pieces that she wished she originally wanted to add and didn't, you know, in the first run. And now I'm happy to say that the recording portion of Accounts for a Lonely Broadcast Station novel, the book for book 1, the recording is done for the audiobook. Joey Sorless plays Finn. Mr. Creepypasta, of course, comes back as Daniel, and myself as Evelyn. So audiobook is on its way. Maine is currently in editing hell, trying to get through it. I'm looking at trying to license music from an extremely cool musician named Behold. And if you haven't checked them out, you definitely should. Send them my regards. I don't want to talk too much about that yet because like I still have to email them back. But I'm hoping to license some music from them because it is fucking banger. It's so good. And like I've never heard music that sounds like Accounts, but it's fucking perfect. And it's BE/hold if you need that. But so we're working on finishing the editing for all of that. Wynn announced actually within the last week that she is working on book 2. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, nothing goes crazy awry, but please keep your eyes open for the release of Accounts from a Lonely Broadcast Station for the audiobook for book 1 around Thanksgiving. That way you guys have it for when you travel. You can listen to it when you need to get away from family, or if you just want something fun to do for the holidays, that will be available soon. And I will give you all the links. We'll make sure that we are running stuff on the channels and giving teasers. If you are subscribed to anything under my exclusives, I will be sending out a teaser for you guys for free as part of the process. But yeah, and we're going to have a bunch of really cool merch coming. We're working on looking at cassette tapes that have some specialty characters that's exclusive. I have to work on that. Now, let me be clear. I say that because the promise that I made to Win back then has stood the test of time. Accounts, if I'm being completely transparent, obviously production for an audiobook is not cheap. Paying your actors, and I'm grateful because we kind of have the benefit of Spike and I having worked together for quite some time. And obviously we've known Wen a very long time and we're all friends, but we need to make sure that any actors that follow us that are not Spike and I are paid appropriately and fairly. Obviously we want to pay for the music appropriately and fairly. I'm paying for everything out of pocket myself. For money that I have saved over the last couple of years, knowing that this is something that I wanted to see through in whatever way I could for Win. All of the money that goes for the audiobook is going back to Win. I'm not taking a cut of the profit. I'm not, like, it would be really cool if I could at least recover cost of, like, you know, paying the actors and stuff. But even then, I'm not worried about it. I just want to see this done, and I want to see it done so that you guys get to experience something really fucking special. And so that's coming from me, as a gift to Wen, as a gift to Spike, as a gift to Joey, like, and especially as a gift to anybody who supported that series this entire fucking time, because it has been a going on 7-year affair. Yeah, 6 or 7 years. So, and I bring it up because not only that, but with the process of an audiobook, also comes other things, especially with when working on book 2. And I mentioned it takes time, right? This is 7 years in the making for a lot of this shit. Everybody who has ever had something that they really truly gave a fuck about, like a true honest to God fuck, you do it or you don't. You keep your promise to yourself and the people around you, or you don't. You succeed or you don't. And there's always going to be shit that gets in your way. There's always going to be like, well, how do I get around financing the project? How do I get around, the stress that comes with that? How do I get around whatever, right? With the launch of the audiobook for book 1 and the launch of book 2 in physical form, and also like the merch and things that follow, we're working on trying to see what we can do, and I've discussed this before, to have accounts eventually move into a feature film position. Basically, I've always wanted to, because I told Wen years ago, I was like, man, this would make such a fucking sick movie. And I stand by that. And I've stood by that for almost 7 years. And I discussed with you guys over the last year, and probably a little bit longer, that I wanted to see it as a feature. So it's crinkly, because I'm an animal. But this is the first draft script for the film, 4 accounts. So this is a hefty boy. Now, I want to be clear that Monty Light, who was the American Courtyard Productions, Monty did Bittertooth. I worked with Monty on Bittertooth. But Monty assisted Kel and myself in the first draft of the script. Now, of course, it's a rough draft. It's the first draft. But we're going to start working on the rewrite now. It's time. Now that I have completed the book 1 recording, and this is technically book 1's film, it's a lot. It's a lot of undertaking. It's a lot of bullshit. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of everything. So eventually I'm hoping to work towards getting the script finalized. So basically it's going to be in phases. The script's going to be finalized. Once the script is finalized and we all are good to go and Win is happy, then we're going to move into the pitch portion of it, where we start to work everything out. Once we have the pitch solid and we can get that done, and start to kind of figuring out like who would we like to see, who are our expectations for characters and so on and so forth, that's when we start looking at the budget. And the budget is going to be the true shit show and bane of my existence, but you don't get a project done without a budget.
One step at a time.
Yeah. So I'm working in phases on this, but I'm intentionally telling you guys now because it's such a huge undertaking and such a huge motivation in project and to get there, right? And I'm under no illusion where it's like, oh, I need this to be big, I want this to be in theaters. Like, of course I fucking do. Like, that would be sick as fuck. That's not my expectation, though. I simply want to make this thing, even if it's just a YouTube release that we throw up. I don't care. I just want to see it. And I want Wen to see it, because I can't express to you guys what it's like to see something that you created, that you breathed everything of yourself into, the trauma, the bullshit, the good times, the bad times, and to see it live in front of you. Like, that's it. You see it. You're experiencing it, right? Something from your brain exists. And I promised Wen that I would do everything that I could. And I'm standing by that. So I'm trying to state it now, because I'm also holding myself very responsible, because it is such a huge undertaking. And a lot of it is a thing where I'm like, all right, I have to orchestrate this. With that said, I will keep you guys privy of everything. The big thing right now is getting the audiobook. If by some happenstance we could push the audiobook and get it into the right hands, there is always that chance that the right fucking person who could be a producer or an executive producer and fund us hears it and goes, that's the thing. Let's fucking do it. Like, that is always a possibility. There's always something going on. So yeah, I'm making that a thing, because it's very important to me personally, and I want you guys to see this thing. Like, I want you to see it, not just because the amalgamations are so fucking cool, like the monsters are sick as fuck. Like the story itself is driven and has this wild shit happening at any given time, and not to mention you get this weirdly like unorthodox protagonist pair, technically triple protagonist because there's three of them, but you get the trifecta of fuck shit. So you have the grizzled, like grumpy
Pissy.
dad who's just over it, and then you've got like the happy-go-lucky, like I just need to see things happen that's like good, please give me the good things, Daniel. And then like the physical embodiment of apathy, who is just Evelyn, who's just like, I guess I could be positive because I have to, because you're positive and I can't be sad, so like fuck you, I guess, but I'll do it. And I feel like I just want to see Bartholomew. I want to take Bartholomew home. So I've done my own like SFX studying. I'm in the midst of learning animatronics for multiple reasons, selfish reasons too. The suit builds that I'm doing, two of the suit builds that I'm looking at doing are going to not require, but like it would be really cool to do it. So I'm learning how to build, Springtrap is one of them actually, but you look handsome in glasses, is what they're saying.
Oh, thank you.
But I'm working on building blinking and eye movement and blinking for the head builds of the animatronics. The reason that's beneficial though is because I can translate that, if it works proper, into the amalgamations later, which saves us money on the back end. It puts more work on me, but I'm willing to eat that if it means that we get to literally see these things, come to life.
Practical effects.
Yeah, very practical. And that was my goal, is I wanted to see some really fucking baller practical effects for accounts, because there are such cool monsters that come out of it. So we're really gunning for practical effects on it. I also think it's time for a genuine monster movie to move back into practical effects and not, I'm gonna be a petty cunt, I'm so sorry. No, I'm not. It's time that we had a monster movie / somewhat gory and jarring body horror that's not just gore prawn, that doesn't actually tell a story for shit. Just not throwing shade, but
I'll say it.
That I don't want that fight. No, we're not. We're not. I just think it's time to move towards proper storytelling in horror and navigate that while also giving body horror. You can do both. You can totally do both. The Thing, The Void. Oh my god, The Void was great. But there are films that exist that didn't get the attention they deserved. And I just, this is not a film that's telling / story that's telling the story of a monster in the woods, or like the woods really as the woods are the monsters. This is a story about people who have dealt with their own monsters that are quite literally problems that we deal with every day.
I will say this only because it has come out of Wen's mouth in a public format, but Wen grew up loving Silent Hill.
Yeah.
Accounts from a Lonely Broadcast Station is a very zoomed out generalizing statement, Silent Hill in the woods.
Yeah.
And it
really is
talking of monsters and things, but it's also people going through and dealing with their own demons on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically like Appalachian horror, Silent Hill, but it's done in a way that's very, very relatable, I think.
Well, and that's the thing, is I could go on all day. The point, though, is that you guys have never been anything less than Legion. That's that. When people make fun of me sometimes, when they're like, "Oh, so your fan base is called Legion," and I'm like, "Yeah, they are."
I'm glad you guys like my glasses. Thank you.
He is. It is hot English teacher, isn't it? See, I tried to tell him, and then he was like,
I've never been a big fan of glasses, and I'm crotchety that I have to have them. Autumn made fun of me for a week. Not because I have to wear glasses, but because I am very blind in my right eye.
He's got nasty astigmatism.
Yeah.
Yeah, nasty astigmatism. I want to point out, though, I did give him shit. I gave him shit because when I got diagnosed with Meniere's disease, because my right ear half functions most of the time, if at all, he made fun of me for literally being half deaf.
Huh?
That's on paper. Shut the fuck up. That's on paper. That's medical diagnosis. Like,
I have a green tweed coat. It's in the closet upstairs. My Fred jacket.
oh, yeah. Ella-senpai? No.
I can do like the anime like push up thing.
Oh, yeah, you've got to do it like...
I've got to like...
There you go.
Great.
A Percy cosplay? Percy. Which Percy? Because there's like 30 Percys.
The glasses.
Shing! I gotta know which Percy now. I see, that's what I keep saying. It is. It's super hot. What is going on? What now?
I'm assuming either B guy or Elaine. It's fucking Sunday. Shouldn't be anybody pulling up to our goddamn house.
At this rate, bro.
Probably, if I had to guess, it's probably B guy.
Oh, Percival Frederickstein. Okay, Critical Role. All right.
Oh, okay. Oh, they stopped yelling, so I don't know that I care.
But, like, that's the joke. But I don't think people understand. Like, no, I literally mean Legion. Like, we are a collective that moves towards the betterment of ourselves and the betterment of each other while also understanding that sometimes shit just sucks. And, like, it's okay to accept that shit sucks. But it's also part of your responsibility to acknowledge that those are moments and you still have to do the work to work towards that betterment. The Quail are great. We actually talked about them a little bit earlier. Jason's an asshole. Oh, hi, Nakatomi. The Silent Hill tier list with Matt. Bro, okay, so do you guys ever have that moment where you're like, you hear yourself? Because I've never listened to myself have a conversation. And I know this sounds weird, but wait. I've never listened to myself have a conversation, and then I was going back because I couldn't remember the shit that I talked about, the short message, Silent Hill. And so, like, I was trying to listen to it, and I had a really hard time listening to it because listening to myself have a conversation with someone else was, like, really uncanny valley for me. Like,
well, because when you listen to... And 9 times out of 10, when you're listening to yourself, like in a recording or in a game or something.
Because I have to, so I'm like focused on the character.
Like a candid, and not even just a candid conversation. This is like this is my autism interest. So like an unmasked conversation, which is completely different as well.
Yeah, it was very strange.
Yeah, I hate my recorded voice. As somebody who worked in a fucking call center for 10 years, I cannot stand the way my voice sounds in any recording. So I feel you.
So I guess that's the thing, though, is like, there's the I hate my own voice, but then there's also like, no. So like. So it's like your in-character voice or like your customer service voice versus having like a passionate, candid conversation. Very strange. But like, I don't know. Also, so we were supposed to play mouthwashing. Hold on. Let me get to some shit because I'm backwards. I believe that. He also, though, thought he was unattractive, which was very strange.
So does Mads.
Yeah, that's true. He does. That's true. Oh, good. I'll have to watch that.
Oh, thank you, Beanie Man. I'm still working through my voice between I hate the way it sounds on recording from call center and like my voice still fluctuates from day to day because sometimes it's a lot higher than other days. So like, it's a process, but I appreciate it. Dr. Professor Ellis' voice is still loading.
Dr. Professor Vampire Handsome Jack.
I'm glad that you picked it up.
Okay, look. Hold on. Everybody knows AoE is a shit show, but
it's our home away from home.
Several years ago, I was looking for, I don't even remember what, but like a story. It doesn't even matter. But a Handsome Jack story came up, and I shit you not, it was Vampire Professor Handsome Jack. And I was like,
there you go. Twinkie was Professor Dr. Ellis.
Please stop.
Great. Don't give him all those titles.
So with the audiobook and hopefully a movie, will accounts ever make it to chilling? So initially it was discussed that accounts... I looked at it doing licensing via chilling for accounts in relation to the audiobook version. The problem is that because this is a small, independent, self-funded project, my concern is that the way that advertisement works through an app that is basically free is that you get paid according to listens versus, you know, somebody paying like $20 for an audiobook, right? So I struggled because that would have meant that there would have been a base payment and then payment per listen after the fact. And that can be really difficult, especially because the whole point was to try to assist Win. Because, again, Win takes care of, like, what are they, NICU kittens? Like, you know, and kind of assists with rescue work and a few other things. And recently, unfortunately, lost her job, which she's working really hard to come back up on that. And I think she found something finally. But we were working really hard to try to give her a source of finance that she didn't have to really like worry about, so that she could support her mom and herself and so on. Could it potentially move once, you know, depending on where we go with contract, could it potentially move to chilling someday? Maybe. Or, you know, we'll look at maybe releasing bits on, you know, on YouTube or however that works. For the film, though, it really depends on a lot of factors. It depends on budget. It depends on where chilling is. I want to be very clear that the film aspect of things, to try to do a feature, it's going to be... Fuck, man. I'm going to level. It's going to take me most of next year. Not just because I have to take into consideration, like, budgeting, right? Because, again, Yeah, as someone who is kind of like paying out of pocket on a lot of stuff, I need to take into consideration, like, do we do a GoFundMe? Do we do a Kickstarter? How do we do it? What is fair for you guys for supporting the film? Like, you know what I'm saying?
The reality is, even with a Kickstarter and a GoFundMe, there's still going to be out-of-pocket stuff.
Yeah. So, I mean, it could take me most of next year, because keep in mind, we're still doing the rewrite of the script, because we're just on the rough draft. This is first draft. So we've got the rewrites, which will be probably at least 2 more rewrites just to settle, because we've got Wynn, who is the writer and obviously forefront, but we're working with Monty to try to kind of adjust things to make it formulated proper. But Wynn and I also have a very specific style that we want to use to approach the film with. So kind of like an ode to, you know, late 90s, early 2000s horror, and like the when you see it you'll shit bricks, right? So like we really want to target the idea of, I feel uncomfortable but I don't know why I feel uncomfortable, but you literally are going to have to watch it more than once to catch why you were uncomfortable. Like, that's the goal. So we do have to kind of work on a lot of that. Once the script is complete and we can verify, we have to start to kind of break down the actual pitch itself. So if we do want to try to find, you know, a producer or a company, we have to have that pitch ready. We also have to have a budget ready. So then we move into kind of phase 2, which is someone going to want this? And if so, how do we ensure that, because my requirement and the other reason for me trying to do this more indie and more self is because, unfortunately, and this is the reality of production across the board, games, movies, books, everything, the second that you approach a company, especially a large one, the first question becomes, well, we're going to pay you X, and then we own the rights.
No, motherfucker.
And I will fight God, the devil, all of the angels, and everybody else, to ensure that Wynn maintains all rights. Period. That is non-negotiable. Non-negotiable. Period, end of story kind of shit. And I don't do well with bullies. And unfortunately, when you run into contract negotiations with large companies, you can occasionally run into leads that are big company CEO dudes that are just running the system, and they don't actually give a fuck about what's being put up. But they'll sick their lawyers onto the situation to try to bully you into giving them rights because they want it, but they don't want you to keep it. You dig?
They want to rob you, is what it is.
And I don't do well with that.
Y'all heard how we thought about the last person who didn't pay us what was owed.
So I would rather not, and it would be, thanks guys, give my sword. You have my bow. I would rather just not. I want Wen to maintain all of the creative rights for her story at its core. So with that said, it happens a lot. It's still happening, and it's going to take some time, but doing this ourselves, because I know, unfortunately, that we are going to probably face we're going to face some punches if we try to pitch it to large companies or companies in general who are going to want the rights, and that's non-negotiable. And if I have to go into a meeting with everything in hand and lay everything on the table with my hands on top of it and say, this conversation will not continue if the first thing out of your mouth is that we do not keep the rights.
Walk the fuck on.
Because I have no problem leaving immediately. Like, I don't even have to open this fucking folder. So, hands down, on the table, not opening this, clarifying now, in negotiation, we retain the creative rights. And if anything less than that's agreeable comes out of their mouth, I walk. I don't need you to do the things that I do. It may not reach a mass scale on theaters, or it may not, be this thing that just like shows the fuck up and is internationally acclaimed and all this bullshit. But let me fucking tell you something. I will not be the person who sits down and takes it simply for the fact that, like, oh, well, it went to theaters though. Like, no, fuck you. I would rather it be so limited that you have to like scrape the bowels of the internet to find it, and then find it and have it be that like amazing, self-done, awesome ass cult following film that everybody just fucking lives and dies by. And like, it was as good as we could do at the moment, but god damn it, we put years of fucking effort into it, and like, we did the best we could with what we had. I would rather it be that.
It's not perfect, but it's ours.
Exactly. So that's a big thing. And therefore, yeah, It's probably going to take a lot of time, but it's my time, and I will do everything in my power to keep my promise.
It's my account and I want it now.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I would, of course, we would definitely want to try to submit it to film festivals, because it does have that kind of a story mechanic, especially for horror. So the goal would be to try to work it into film festivals eventually, and work from there. A lot of the legwork, though, is going to wind up being you guys. It's going to be all of us coming together to be like, look at this thing, and kind of taking it from there. So physical release, because streaming is iffy as fuck. So the goal would be to have a physical release of some kind. That does get expensive.
That's like we gotta see when we cross that bridge when we get to it kind of deal.
Yeah. If we did, we would have to try to find a company like Super Rare, for example, that just did the Mortuary Assistant physical release.
Yeah.
We would have to find a company like that realistically and try to see what partnering with them would look like. I don't know. I would love for that to be the case.
I'll wear a big boy hat and buy any plushies.
So we are working.
Bartholomew plushies, please.
Yeah. So we're working on merch and things too. But
limited run is a good way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll see where it goes. But I think that, it was really important to, I guess, to sit down and have this conversation, just because right now for me there is so much shit going on at any given point, and I don't ever want you guys to think like, because I can't respond to every message all of the time in DMs. I can't express, and sometimes I'm really short in response, and I don't ever want you guys to think it's because I don't care or because I'm like just going through the motion. I'm doing the best I can at any moment to exist most of the time, and there's always something happening at any given moment. I'm trying, and I cannot express how much I appreciate each and every one of you for supporting us and for buying, exclusive stuff, and like, even just saying hello, and like any of that. It's a big deal, and it's appreciated in ways that I can't properly articulate or express or show. I'm pretty sure that I set Win up with a fourth wall, so we should have a website. We should have a website set up. I'm gonna double check and see if it's her website or if we have one specifically for accounts. If we don't have one specifically for accounts, we can work on that on the back end. That's fine. That's easy. Because that way we could implement a shipping system that we don't have to worry about, and then it kind of takes care of the middleman. We wouldn't make a lot unless we like really ramped up pricing, and I try really hard not to be that person. I came from jack shit, and I'm not gonna get into that right now, but like, I know what it's like to really want something and not be able to afford it no matter what you do, right? And it's just like, it feels like you have to save up for a whole year just to get something that most people don't have a problem getting. And I try really hard to give options that are affordable or reasonable, or like give ranges of things, so that there's access to things. And I would like to maintain that across the board. Have a good one, Sleepy. What type of style would a broadcast game be? Honestly, not quite a walking simulator, but like, actually, it would probably have elements of everything, because it would have to be a shooter.
Yeah.
But it would also be exploration and story narrative driven. I feel like we could work, if Accounts was a game, it would be kind of cool to work all elements in, like a little bit of everything. It would be kind of Alan Wake 2, a little bit, but I think that it would be really fun to play. You know what would be really cool?
Give us an Accounts monster dating sim, you coward.
You know what would be really cool is if we did like the Animatrix,
Yeah.
but like put Accounts in that as a game. So like, if you had to play as Daniel's levels are built off of like Daniel's personality.
Yeah.
So like everything is weirdly happy, and like that's how you perceive things. So like the monsters are still monstrous, but they're like a different variation of monstrous. That would be fucking cool.
Yeah.
If you fucking take that idea, I will come for you in your sleep, and not in a good way.
What do you want? Did you wake up?
Yeah, that would be cool. Camera system after Finn puts all the cameras up. You get some Five Nights in there. Tales from a Lonely Broadcast Station done Silent Hill Outlast style. You know what would be really cool? I would love if, because like Dread XP has been so amazing about stuff. I would love to partner with Dread XP for an Accounts game. Like, I could, and I feel like they would do right by it for sure. You wanna say hi?
I just woke up.
Did you?
I was trying to sneak by and Dad saw me, so I can't pee on the floor if he's looking.
Beam up. She had another. She's doing well. She's doing better. But Roxy did have another seizure the other day. Hey Tyler, thank you so much. Appreciate that. She had another seizure the other day, but we gave her her meds. She's doing all right. So she living. She lives by the sword.
You need to go potty.
You do. Okay, great. Love you.
The insult.
The huff. Yeah. Yo, thanks, JDM. I appreciate that. Thank you. And yeah, Roxy's about 15. Getting there. 14, but getting 15. I don't know. I just think it would be cool. So, yeah. No, and I grew up Arizona, so like we didn't have a lot, but like that's part of the deal. It is so far. She's doing better. The medication makes her sleep a lot. Well, yeah, which Hatchet's younger, so like he kind of gets his he gets his energy up sometimes, but because Roxy's older, it just causes her to sleep a lot more, which is worrisome for me, just because I don't want her to live like that, but at the same time, like we I don't know, I have to find the balance, you know what I mean? So, but she's doing good. She's doing all right. She's taking her sweet old time. Yeah. The balance will be found. Can you bring me water, honey, if you're in the kitchen?
It's right there.
Oh, bet. Thanks. Good call. I forgot I bought this for Ellis. It's got chickens on it. That's it. Yeah, okay, so Big, you get it. You're a vet. So yeah, there are lots of stuff in the works, lots of stuff going on, lots of like personal life shit going on. Lots. But we're gonna do what we can to try to put everything together. Obviously, Eldritch Ecstasy is still occurring. If you are a fan of Eldritch Abominations of the adult variety, feel free to check out Eldritch Ecstasy, of course. We're still working on new builds and things like that, but yeah, we'll see. And then the Maid did come out yesterday as well, so there's a new exclusive for the Maid. That will be at, of course, officialautumnivy.com. And then I have a couple of other things coming out this week. But, oh, happy birthday to your sister. Oh, good. Happy to see it. I'll keep my eyes open. Thanks, Valkian. I appreciate you. I liked it for what it was. Definitely. So I'm going to let Ellis take over for a quick second. And then I think we're going to get ready to decide if we're going to play the rest of Life Eater or if we're going to start mouthwashing. Because Ellis has not experienced mouthwashing, but has seen a bunch of the memes and the art coming out and needs to know. He needs to be in the know. So we have a couple of options. I'll let him break it down. Have fun.
Oh, okay. Hello, chat. What's going on? What's happening? So we were not high school sweethearts. No. We were very, very close friends in high school. We've known each other since. She was the second person I met when I moved to Arizona from Kentucky. And we stayed friends for a very, very, very long time. I am so happy that you guys have decided that it is Professor Ellis. Do not...
Oh my god, stop.
do not let that die. Do not let her forget it. But yeah, we've known each other for a very long time. We didn't get together until quite a bit later, obviously. I told you. I fucking told you.
I know, but now I'm in the bathroom.
She can live a fucking minute. So Autumn has played mouthwashing. I have not. That's like the one stream that I hadn't tuned in on or paid attention to at all out of all of the streams she's done lately, where I was either next to her or tuned in on Twitch if I was doing something. Witchcraft and Pagan Worship 101. Yes. Librarian Ellis is a good runner-up. I'll take it. Extra credit is always on the table. You can be too. She's ignoring me. That's my favorite part. No, she's spoken lots of things about mouthwashing, and I've seen a lot of the posts and stuff. It just depends on how long. How does she sit back in this chair? She's terrible. I'm not even talking about that. It just depends on how long we're gonna be streaming for, which one she chooses. Because I do want to sit down and try to play through mouthwashing like in one go. I don't want to break it up, and I know it's probably like about 3 hours. But yeah. Oh, there we go. It just depends. We'll figure out when she comes back. Chad Ellis. I mean, yeah, sometimes. It depends on the day. As a professor, can you tell my professor to chill on the programming assignments? As somebody who took a very vague programming course in high school, I hate it with a goddamn passion. So, like, I'll fight your programming professor. Art teacher Ellis was close. I was actually going to be music teacher Ellis was my original intention upon going to college before that turned into a disaster. Because, surprise, I'm a musician. Who would have guessed that? Yeah, I'm like the college professor that just says, fuck it, I'm hungover, we're not coming to class today. I appreciate that. Drums was what I had a scholarship for at the time, so definitely. All kinds of percussion instruments, but drums specifically. If you became a streamer, I am 32. Old enough. 5 full assignments due the same day. I'm not just gonna fight him. I'm gonna like take all of the copper out of his house and slash his tires. That's ridiculous. So I am slowly learning how to play banjo. I never really fiddled with guitar much, but I'm also working through like nerve damage in my hand, so it just takes time. Oh no, yes, I am a juggalo, you're correct. I love all kinds of music. It does not matter, and I mean like all music, like including country and rap, so you can't really subject me to anything that I will just blatantly shit on you for. You are good to go. Banjo is very slept on. My nan, my entire childhood would sit on the porch and play banjo. Okay. And she did clawhammer, and she's very, very good. Even hip-hop, yeah. Welcome back.
Magnets.
We were having class.
How do they work?
You're late to class.
The fuck I am. Move. I was on time today.
No, you weren't.
I was.
You can't say you're on time when you're like, just kidding, I'm moving it from 1 to 1:15.
I was on time to the time that I dictated it was time for. Therefore, I was on time.
A wizard is never late nor early. He arrives
exactly when he needs to. Exactly.
I be coming in like, Mom, I threw up.
I'm writing that down. All right, what are we doing?
Well, so I'm down for mouthwashing.
Okay.
But that's like a 3-hour play, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like 3 or 4.
So we would need food at bare minimum. Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
The university professors who publicly hate each other but actually privately are banging?
Yeah.
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 I'll sign off on that.
The other one only has like 2 levels left or some shit. It
Yeah.
just depends. How much longer do you want to stream for? What do you...
I need to start recording that fucking book.
Yes, you do. So I think maybe saving mouthwashing is probably a good idea.
I guess we should finish Life Eater.
What are you looking like I owe you fucking money for? Go to sleep, old lady.
I guess we'll finish Life Eater. Anyway, those are my updates for that stuff. So enjoy the life updates. That was like 2 hours worth of life updates. I hope you enjoy. Which I needed to do a life update video anyway for YouTube. So like, cool. Enjoy. Drink water. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Yeah. So there's that. Great.